Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
Faithful audiences of this program will know that I have, in every presidential campaign season, insisted repeatedly that these so-called debates that were invented by and for television do not test anything that is actually part of the daily job of the presidency. No one ever runs into the Oval Office and says, Mr. President, you have 2 minutes to explain your position on some subject. Presidents discuss one subject at a time in the Oval Office. They do it in detail for as long as they want or as short as they want. They read briefing papers, if their name is not Trump, about that subject before each of those discussions. Most presidencies never have an emergency, a run-in-the-room emergency. There is never a moment when someone rushes in giving the president an immediate emergency problem that the president has to solve. That did happen to one of those candidates on the stage last night. And when he faced that emergency, his choice was to do absolutely nothing for 187 minutes. He froze for 187 minutes on January 6th, while his supporters were attacking the Capitol and trying to overturn the presidential election through violence.
Yep. One more, Lawrence O'Donnell.
The loser, in their view, was the older man with the weaker voice, who struggled to tell the truth in a ridiculous format that he is no longer any good at, and that has nothing to do with the job of president, a format that does not test the job of president. Most of the coverage of the event actively encourages the voters to look at that as superficially as possible and focus only on what the commentators call the performance and never the policy.
Yep. One last one, Lawrence O'Donnell.
Then, of course, came the unrealistic notions that there is a magical candidate who can emerge to pick up the banner as the Democratic presidential nominee. Not one person who makes that suggestion has said who that magical candidate is and how and through what process the nomination could be delivered to that magical candidate. And there is no polling data to even begin to suggest that that candidate exists. There's no polling data.
Yep. Great point. I'm sorry. One more. Forgot. Sorry.
The only other Democrat to this day who has ever polled well against Donald Trump, the only Democrat who's polled strongly against Donald Trump, is Joe Biden. The second best polling candidate among Democrats against Donald Trump is actually Vice President Kamala Harris. The magical dream candidates are completely unknown to most people in the country, governors of states like California, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and not one of those governors polls anywhere close to Kamala Harris or Joe Biden against Donald Trump. And not one of those governors has ever raised $1 of campaign funding that can be used in a federal presidential campaign.
Yep. What you can do, so Don said, is be in this together with us. SexyLiberal.com. Hopefully Lawrence O'Donnell will be in New York. He's a soft yes. They're like, cable news firemen. They're just like, it's all sliding down the pole. Yeah, I think that was Katie Fang that had said, I'm a believer. I've been pushing the idea. You'll see an evidentiary hearing that Judge Chutkan will do, I think, very quickly. She's going to put the pedal to the metal on this. The evidence you'll be hearing will be the opportunity for Jack Smith to present the entirety of the indictment, because I believe the indictment against Trump is all unofficial acts. None of that was kosher. None of it was supposed to happen. It was all illegal. You'll see special counsel Jack Smith put on what I'm going to call a mini trial through the course of the evidentiary hearing so Americans can hear what Donald Trump did. The American people are owed. Right? Are owed this, I think. And, it is obviously depressing, as we thought. Yeah. I still, it's still, like for us non-lawyers, when stuff comes out, like you were saying, there's so much legalese, and we're trying to even, illegal guys like, and lads and ladies like Harry, have different ways of interpreting and what's it going to mean. And I mean, because I was feeling the Fisher ruling about the insurrectionist, he actually had kind of a happy clappy take on that. This is the guy who barged into the Capitol. He assaulted a federal officer. So the court held he could not be charged under a federal law against obstructing an official proceeding for joining the melee that's delayed the certification, a ruling that the law is limited to conduct affecting the integrity or availability of records that could be in evidence in an official proceeding. In this one, Harry writes, the decision isn't likely to favor the majority of the rioters, and it's even less likely to help Trump.
Yeah, they're figuring about 52 people are affected by this ruling out of the more than 1,000.
Right. Harry had tweeted, pressing question in the wake of Fisher is whether obstruction charge remains against Trump on 1-6 charges on the ground that his conduct impaired the integrity of the evidence via the certificates from the states they wanted Pence to override. Looks to me if the opinion preserves that. Yes, Jody Hamilton.
Roberts just said, Trump asserts a far broader immunity than the limited one we have recognized. So there is some...
Well, that's what everybody was thinking. This is going to be a split the hairs, not total,
of course.
yes, you can assassinate your political rivals with SEAL Team 6, but not...
Right.
God, my stomach is really... Okay. Yeah, all I know, it's you start to go like, who's celebrating what? So the Supreme Court ruling that made it more difficult to prosecute rioters who attacked the Capitol was met with outrage on the left and cheers of celebration from the MAGA right. Jonathan Turley on Fox, so he's like, it's a big win for Trump. It knocks a substantial part of the case Jack Smith has against the former president. So we'll see. And again, and Harry interprets that somewhat differently. The Crew wrote, today's Fisher decision, the Supreme Court majority helped many insurrections dodge accountability once again. If attempting to block the certification of the 2020 election isn't obstructing official proceeding in the court's eyes, then what is? I mean, and that's still digesting that ruling. So the ruling right now, all I know is what it amounts to is giving him immunity, basically, because it's delay, because it won't be heard before the election.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. There it is, my first drink of the day, Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Many of you know my story. I stopped drinking wine for 3 years during COVID, during the lockdown as part of a health reset. Now I drink wine in moderation, but this is an amazing new product. I've always believed in probiotics. And Z-Biotics, check this out. You drink just one of these. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. I am using this and I feel great in the morning. I don't have to worry if I have an extra glass of wine, I still feel great in the morning. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. I've always had acid reflux problems. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. All I know is it works. It is Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Go to zbiotics.com/politicalvoices or scan the QR code on the screen right now.